This is a highly requested video. I'm joking. 4 people asked for this video, and I'm choosing this video for those 4 people. Hi guys, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for being here. Today I am not alone. I'm with my beautiful sister Unoma, and we are here to talk all things egg donation. So not a couple of weeks ago, actually for the past couple of months I've been seeing a lot of conversations on Twitter about egg donations, and there's so many misconceptions. Like this other girl was just like, what if I could never have kids again? What if those were my last eggs? Anyway, so I thought that someone actually recently said that she was just saying that you can make like 7,000 rand from egg donation, and then I happened to respond and I said you can actually make more. And 4 people, guys, I'm not lying, 4 people asked me to do a video about it. So we are doing a video about it, and I thought that I wouldn't do it alone. I would actually bring in Norma, because Norma actually did the process. So it is better to hear it from the horse's mouth. We will start from the beginning, from the application process to literally the last section, end of it. I don't know. But okay, this is new for me. Unoma suggested we do a mukbang. Okay, yeah. I've been trying to like how to pronounce it, a mukbang. So we'll be eating some Asian cuisine while we talk about letting go of those eggs. So Norma and I started this process. We did this process in beginning of 2019, because I remember I fell pregnant a few months after that. And before that, I had a friend who did it, and I didn't even know this was actually possible. Donating your eggs was a thing. A friend of mine did it, and I then went and told Norma about it. And we did our research and we found out how to do the process. The process is quite intense, especially the application process. It's long and it's intense, and one of the reasons why I actually asked Norma to come here, because Norma drinks alcohol, but she doesn't really drink. And I feel like people who don't drink tend to remember things. Me on the other hand, I don't remember much. So Norma remembers a lot of the process. I think I remember the application process, and then Norma obviously will remember way more than what I remember. So step 1 is being able to donate your eggs. You need to have eggs. I'm not going to mention the clinic we did this with, because they're not paying. And I mean, I have 3,500 subscribers.
Yeah, but girl.
I'm a brand. Do you know who I am? I'm the millennial mom. So they need to pay. But it's a fertility clinic in Sandton. If you're not based in Joburg, I think there are other places that you can do this process with. We went through their website, and then you download this application form. I remember it being about 12 to 15 pages. Yeah. Extremely long. They want to know everything about you, your family, your ancestors, everybody who shares a surname with you.
And then like you write essays about like growing up as a child, or your school career and the career you chose after school. So I think there's a lot within that tries to determine, okay, cool. So the profile goes to future like potential egg receivers, I guess.
Yeah, since you're the donor.
Yeah. So you need to detail, basically, you need to sell yourself. And in selling yourself, you need to sell yourself as smart, and sell yourself as not having great trauma, because you need to like make it seem as if everything was just daisies. So yeah, so
also they ask a lot about mental health. Yeah. If there's like history of mental health in your family, they ask about the history of your health in general. So if there's like diabetes in your family, there's anemia, hemophilia, all of those things, they ask about it. Understandably so, because the receiver will need to know that information. If I'm the receiver and I don't want someone who has anemia in their family, I need to know that I have that option to be like, maybe this profile is not for me. If I have a boy and then they have hemophilia and then my child cuts themselves, there's a risk of them dying. So I think it's important to obviously disclose those things.
Yeah.
While obviously trying to pretend like you have an amazing childhood.
Yeah, so I think there's obviously medical history that please don't lie. Because for things like hemophilia, which is a recessive gene, if the couple already has hemophilia in their bloodline and you have hemophilia in your bloodline, then their child will potentially have most likely have hemophilia. So please don't lie around medical history. But like when they ask you about your background, also they generally ask things like your favorite memory as a kid. So it's very difficult to be like to bring in trauma, because
my favorite memory was my mom beating me up.
Yeah, God. So but yeah, it's quite extensive. They also ask for like baby pictures, so you had to go home and like find baby pictures. And because of all of this process, I remember I looked at my emails and I started the application in 2018 December, but my application was approved in February. And I think a large part of it was me taking time to actually finalize the application in itself.
Also, my application also took quite some time. Same as Norma. I think we started the application in 2018, and I think I received my email to say that, because it's a process, you get pre-approved and then you have to come to the clinic, and then there's other tests that needs to be done at the clinic. So I got my pre-approval email, I think around in January. And when Norma got hers, luckily we were able to go to get... Did we do it together?
I don't think so. I think we got pillars in.
Oh yes, because I got my pre-approval first. And then you get there. So yeah, I don't know if I missed anything just from the application process. Just you've got to need a lot of your childhood pictures. So from like birth, 3 months, 6 months, when you start walking. So basically every milestone, just try if you have a picture. If you're young, if you're a 2000 baby, I'm sure you have it. But I was born in 1989. My parents didn't have like smartphones or whatever. So having access to those pictures is quite hard. I remember they asked for a picture when I was 9 years old. Luckily I had it. A picture when you were about 12, 16. They want to know the color of your eyes, the color of your hair. What else? But it's stuff that you do know. Like it's stuff that you can find out. Your height, your weight, your family tree also. Like, so your mother's side of the family, your father's side of your family. If you know them, please try and get information from them. So that's the application process. And then they will tell you, they'll give you like a few dates to come through to the clinic for like a face-to-face consultation. And then when you get there, they ask you extremely invasive and personal questions like, have you been pregnant before? Have you had a miscarriage? Have you had an abortion? If so, how many? In which period? So you have to be honest about shit. So you have to be actually ready to be honest about those things. I know that obviously we can talk about abortions from now to the end of time, but sometimes you're not ready to talk about it and you're not ready to be honest about it. So keep that in mind, that if you have had an abortion, they will ask you that. If you've had more than one, they will ask you that. And trust me, the response is it's not judgmental at all. It's just I'm not sure what they're trying to figure out, but I would suggest that you answer as honest as possible. There's no judgment at all. You won't feel any type of way. But I do understand that there are some situations that we are not ready to talk about, not because other people are going to judge us, but just because you are not ready to talk about.
I think also being a mom already might benefit you in the process, because it means you won't have the notion of, oh, I have a child somewhere. Like you have a child, you know that you have a child. Similar to surrogacy, surrogates who have had children feel maybe a less of a bond or something, attachments to the child. And yeah, so it's not to shame you, the information they're asking. It's just literally medical history, it's a fertility clinic.
I'm so glad Norma brought up this thing of thinking you have a child out there, because I saw it on Twitter when this girl was just like, I'm going to donate my eggs. I've got children out there. No, you don't. It's not your child. It's not your child. And also, if it makes you feel any better, men have children out there all the time and they don't know, they don't take care of. So just think of yourself as not a deadbeat mom, but think of yourself as someone who you did good. You did good for someone else. But it's not your child, babe. Like, don't worry. And another one was just like, yo, my eggs. What if I lose what if they take my last eggs? And I was just like, not to be judgmental, but a lot of us need to go back to grade 10 and study the human reproductive system again. They're not your last eggs. They're not.
So when you're around like a fully grown adult, female will have about 400,000 eggs, and when you go on your period, you lose between 100,000 eggs. So it's like a family of eggs, about 100,000. So that's what they harvest. So they're harvesting maximum 1,000 eggs. It's like whatever you have released that month. Obviously, it would be a bit stimulated with all the medication, but it's not. They can't finish your eggs, and we're gonna chat about it in the next.
I wish they finished my eggs. Anyway, so once you have your first consultation, a doctor will come in, insert something up your vagina. If you've been pregnant, you will know what I'm talking about. They think that they insert every time that you go for your checkup. If you've never been pregnant but have gone for a pap smear, you will know what I'm talking about. That thing that they insert, I think it's to check.
It's an intrauterine ultrasound. So instead of, they will check out ultrasound outside, but to get a better picture, they're going to insert
that thing.
That ultrasound. They do put is it like a
lube?
They put a condom first type of thing to protect obviously the machine, and then they put lube to make it a bit easier for you. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but it's not painful.
It's smaller than a penis. I mean,
Yes.
depending what kind of penises you've seen, but
but yeah, obviously because you're not turned on or anything, it will hurt a bit more than what sex should feel like.
And do they tell you immediately that you can go through the next round, or
they do? So they're able to look at how many follicles you have. They're able to see the centimeter, not the centimeters, I don't know, that they do the little measuring things. So that's when you're meeting with the gynecologist and their fertility specialist. And so if there's a bit of a worry around how many follicles you have, or around what they see, then they can't go through with the process. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your fertility journey is in trouble. So you have to have an excess amount, or not an excess, but above a certain threshold, to donate eggs. But if you have less than that, it doesn't mean you will struggle to get pregnant. But of course, there is the possibility of going in to try to donate and finding out that you might have fertility issues in the future. So prepare yourself for that. And also, it's a great free way to see a fertility specialist. So after that, you have to also take blood work. Yeah.
a free medical test?
Yeah.
Just think about it that way, guys. All you're doing is giving an opportunity to a couple to become parent, but in that process, you gain so much. You get free fertility tests, free medical tests, and if there's anything that's wrong with you, you get to find out quicker than you would have if you waited. And we know the reality of our country. We don't have medical aid, so things like that you wouldn't have found out by yourself. So think about it that way. Yes, you are giving something of yourself, but you're giving something you would have released to every month anyway. But you also get to have all these free medical tests done on you for free.
Obviously, you have to wait a couple of days for all of these results to come back, and then they'll determine whether you're eligible to go through with the process or not. And if I remember correctly, the next step was seeing a therapist. So they have to ensure that you understand what you're getting yourself into, the implications of it. Because I think obviously there's a donation, not a payment. There's a donation, a gratuity that comes to you. So a lot of people, if they come and it's strictly about the money, they might not fully understand what, might not have fully processed.
So basically, think about it this way. When you have a job interview and they ask you why you want this job, you want this job because you want the money, but you don't say that. You say shit like, I want this job because I want to contribute to your company. I want to grow. I want to learn. It's the same. You're going there, you know that you will get a gratuity payment. You know you're gonna get that, but obviously this whole process shouldn't be about the end result. So just think about it as a job interview. I'm not saying lie to the therapist, but I'm just saying think about it that way.
But yeah, obviously I think before meeting with the therapist, before even starting the process, like you should be, if you are the person who thinks I'll have a child out there, then you probably shouldn't go through with it, because I don't think you'll deal well with it afterwards. Yeah, so just think about it thoroughly and don't get yourself into something that you might regret later. I personally don't think I have a child out there. My children are Lwande and Milani. That's about it for me. And I donate blood. I'm a registered organ donor. Like there was nothing big, or I didn't have an ethical conundrum around it. It was just previously I had actually tried applying elsewhere, but the process was just tedious, so I gave up on it. The only reason why I went through with it this time was Amanda was also doing it, so like having a partner actually benefited me in the long run, because I have someone who's like, oh, how far are you? Oh, how far are you? Okay, no, send me pictures, and then things.
Yeah, so that's something to actually consider. Like if you have a friend that you want to do it with, it's like having a friend you exercise with, like having like someone who pushes you to just like, okay, let's do it. Because the application process is long. I'm not going to lie to you. It's quite long. You might want to give up midway through. But if you've got someone else who's doing it, you guys push each other. So if you have a friend, a sister, anyone that you want to do this with, please consider it. Tell them about it, and you never know. I'm going to let Norma speak through the next process, which is you've applied, you've been approved, you've done your blood test, everything came out fine, and because it's such an intense process, it needs someone who remembers things, and it's not me. So that's why I asked Norma actually firstly to be here, because she can take you guys through the actual process, the fertility. It's like going through IVF basically. If you watch like Housewives or whatever, I watch Housewives and I see what those women go through. That's exactly what it is. So Norma, take it over.
So after seeing the therapist and them, if they say we are comfortable with taking you through, obviously if they're a bit hesitant, then they might decline the application itself. So which I think is nice, because like they ensure that they don't put you at risk physically and mentally. So yeah, I think that's great. And then you meet with a nurse. The next part is meeting with the nurse, and that is actually starting the physical process. So they put you on birth control for a month just to kind of regulate, so that we don't have surprises. Like we are able to say we are going to book this date and that date, because we know when you're ovulating, when you're doing this and stuff like that. So once you finished, I was already on the pill, luckily enough, and so I just had to wait until the end of it, and then I got my set of injections.
It was a lot, I think.
It's honestly a lot of injections, and if you don't favor injecting yourself, it's going to be a difficult process. They do give you the option of you can come into the clinic, and the nurse will administer the injection, but it's a daily thing. And so going into Sandton, when I lived in Bram at that point, was...
We lived together, North Riding.
Oh yes, no, we were living together. Yeah, sorry,
But
I didn't live in
it was
Bram.
far.
I lived in North Riding, but it was far because I'm thinking I lived in North Riding because I was doing my honours at Wits, and I would usually...
your time was spent in Bram.
Most of my time was spent in Bram. So it was impractical for me to like go from home in North Riding, go to Bram, and then at 10 go to Sandton to get a shot. Like it just didn't make sense. So I'd administer it myself. It wasn't too painful. It's like small needles, and yeah, similar to if you've ever seen an IVF one, or a diabetes one, where like you put the grams that or whatever that you're going to do. It's like I don't know how to describe it. They give you those injections. They're quite simple, like to administer. And I think my mom being a nurse, I'm not the most scared of injections. We are not,
at all.
Our mom would prefer to give us medicine through injections than through pills, because injections are quicker. And I donate blood, and that is, if you've donated blood, that needle is like so big that you can face whatever, you can conquer everything in life. But yeah, so you had to administer it each day. You had to keep it in the fridge. And so I found troubles with this like later on, because so you administered it for about 10 to 12 days, and through those 10 to 12 days you come in probably about 3 times to see the doctor, just for them to scan that everything is going according to plan, and if need be they will alter your medication.
Also, during that time it is important to know that you can't have sex.
Kind of flex.
Uzomita.
Just have protected sex.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Your fertility is high at that point, so it's very easy to get pregnant. In that, they warn you that there's something called ovarian overstimulation, where if your ovaries get overstimulated, they become hard, and that might cause issues. But it's like a 0.something% chance. But I have anxiety about everything, and so I always thought, is this how my ovaries usually feel? Is that even where my ovaries sit? But I was very careful around what I'm doing. You can't be drinking. There's a lot of things you can't be doing. Like you can't exercise. Because your ovaries are a bit heavy. It's weird. So it's not like the longest period, but to be safe, I just say scratch your whole month.
Yeah, don't have sex. Don't go to gym. Don't.
Have sex, but protected. Yeah, so you have to. I think the time and the effort that portion takes of having to go in, so frequently to Santa to go check and stuff, is a lot. It's. I think it might be a lot more than the actual application, the start of the application process.
Yeah,
like the start of
you do the application at home.
Yes,
like,
you're at home, it's tedious, you do it during your extra hours, but now but they have time schedules, so if your thing is at 10 a.m, then you have to leave your meeting or whatever it is, it's a bit tedious, it's off time consumed throughout that period. And then when they are happy with you, if they're happy with you on your 3rd appointment to check how everything is going, they book your retrieval appointment. And your retrieval appointment was done for me there. Like, ne? It's in the same building.
Everything was in the same building, yeah.
Everything was in the same building. It's like different floors for different things.
But you're in the same building. It's like a mini hospital. So you come in, because you have an appointment, you don't have to like wait in the waiting room or anything. I went straight to bed. And also everything is so delicate there.
It is.
Everyone and everything is so delicate. Everyone who's there is just treated like an egg.
No, I wanted to say, guys, like there's no, because when you're doing something, and I think people can have the people can have a misconception that just because there's some gratuity you're going to gain, that you're just here for money, and they might treat you in that manner. But I promise you guys, like, you were treated like a client. There was no difference between you and the white lady in her 50s trying to get pregnant, coming in for fertility. There was nothing. You're offered coffee, you're offered tea, like everything was good. Like,
yep.
Soft life.
Yep.
Soft life if you're ever in a hospital and you need soft life. I don't know. Got into the medical aid.
Yeah. I think they recognize that as much as donating eggs is such it's like a no-brainer. It's like, okay, cool, whatever, I release the eggs every month, you can have them. But I think it's just them showing you appreciation, like, what you're doing is a lot. It's like donating blood, guys. Like donating blood is nothing to you. But the person who's going to benefit from that, it means a lot. So the clinic literally treats you like you have done the most amazing thing on earth. It's soft, it's nice, it's comfortable. So don't even worry about being treated like, say, I'm not going to mention any hospitals, but don't even worry about being treated like you in some other public hospital.
Yeah, so my fear, you have to obviously wear the hospital gown or whatever, and then they give you pills for nausea because the anesthesia for a Grey's Anatomy lover, I still don't know how to pronounce this.
For someone who's given birth twice, I still don't know how to pronounce it.
The anesthesia might make you feel nauseous after the procedure, so they foresee that and they give you anti-nausea pills, and your doctor will come check on you, whatever. Anesthesiologist will come and explain the procedure of what he'll be giving you, whatever, so you're fully informed of what exactly is about to happen. And then when the time comes, you're gonna be wheeled into the OR, and you get into the OR bed, and in the OR you'll have your OR staff, which will typically be nurses, your anesthesiologist, and your gynecologist who specializes in fertility. And then they put, and it was my first time, guys. It was my first time in the OR. I've never slept in a hospital. Like I always say this, even when I was born, my mom gave birth to me in the morning and I was discharged midday because, government hospital. So I've never been like in a hospital in this sense, and I was excited to the anesthesiologist be like, count down to 10, and then you 10, 9, 8, and then you pass out. But they didn't do that. It was just it's just a bit sad. But what they did is, so they put the mask, because it was like I'm not certain if it was through the drip also, because obviously they put an injection so that you're easily accessible for injections. They don't have to keep injecting you. So I'm not certain whether it was drip form. I don't remember actually. But I do remember the gas mask. I put it on and the anesthesiologist just asked me, that smells nice, right? Of which instinctively makes you like take a deep breath, right? And as soon as I took that deep breath, I didn't finish the sentence. It actually does, and when I think about it, it didn't smell like anything.
It's like, I'm out.
And then I woke up back in the ward. They don't allow you to leave without someone being there. So if you ever think you want to do this, but you want to do it like without anyone in your life knowing, there needs to be one person in your life that you tell.
Please.
Yeah. So she woke me up, and like, that was the best sleep of my life. Like, I like medical drugs, which is a lot to say, but medical drugs knock you out, like, because you don't feel druggy. Sometimes when you take like allergics or whatever, and the following morning you're just like, no, I was passed out, but when I woke up, I was me again. And when I tell you, like, they gave me like strong pain meds, but zero pain. So what they do is, it's a needle. They inject it through your vagina, through your uterus, and then they extract the eggs. So it's literally just an injection site. It's not like anything is cut or anything is. It's not a major surgery.
It's not giving birth.
Like,
it's not.
Yeah. So it is pretty painless, and I walked out, and I think less than a week later I got my gratuity, which...
Let's speak about the gratuity. So obviously they don't want to make it seem as if you are coming to sell your services or you're selling your eggs or whatever. So they're not going to tell you that you are getting paid for it.
Because it is illegal to buy organs.
So that's why. But we did this in 2019, February, March. And the gratuity was 10 grand at the time. And I think, 24 hours later?
Yeah, it's a pretty quick. Like I didn't have to call them up and be like, hi.
Yeah, you don't have to be like, hi, when can I expect the payment? No. And then you get it 24 hours after the extraction, and you never have to speak to these people ever again. But something very interesting did happen to Norma afterwards. I don't know if she wants to share. When they called you and asked if you knew.
Oh,
Norma.
yes. So the
The
lady...
most precious thing happened for Norma afterwards.
So obviously this whole process is anonymous, right? Your donor doesn't know the recipient never knows the donor. You also sign papers that say you in no form can come back 20 years later and say
you watch your child.
You know, yeah. But I got a call from the lady who is like who took me through the whole process, more on the admin side. And she's like, oh, do you know so and so in Jangisa? I'm like, girl, I don't know that man, or lady or whatever it is. And she's like, no, we have a couple about Jangisa that are interested in your eggs. Now, the crazy thing is, it's anonymous. So they don't
know that she's in Jangisa.
That I'm in Jangisa. And my clan, like our clan is so small, guys, that if I bump into someone or in Jangisa, then they're my friend.
You're
like,
family.
You're family. My clients is a very big organization, and I searched in Jangisa to see, and there's like one other Jangisa in the whole bank. So I found that but yeah, they obviously have to make sure that there's no conflict, we don't know each other. And she was laughing about it. It was like, oh, like the coincidence of it all.
But now, isn't it nice? Well, I mean, okay, I guess nice that the people who chose Norma's profile are actually going to have umntana wabo. Yes. They don't know that the profile that they chose or Ndlangisa, even though they are in Ndlangisa, they don't know that they chose Ndlangisa, but they chose. Isn't it crazy how God just works? As much as this lady will always feel like I didn't.
Yes, genetically
this is not my child, but it is her child.
But looking at clans and how
small,
genetics work, then there's a huge chance that there are genetics that we share that her child might have. Of course, this was an applicant. We are not sure whether she actually got the eggs or not, or whether they were ever used. But yeah, it was. I think that was like
so beautiful. It gives me goosebumps every time I think about the fact that there's a couple out there. If, as Norma's saying, if it went through, there's a couple out there who got a baby. I guess. I don't know if that information was enough. The 4 people that asked me to do this video were not specific about what they wanted to know, but I just felt as if let's just tackle it from application to extraction. And I think we've covered it. But if you feel like you're interested in the process, but there's something that we might have missed, you're always welcome to DM me. And if you are in Gauteng, in Joburg specifically, and you want to know the clinic that we went to, more than welcome to share those details via DM. As mentioned, that I'm not going to mention them, not because I think I'm big or whatever, but I just don't feel like I want to mention them. And also, I just also wanted to debunk the misconceptions about egg donation. We've spoken about the fact that you don't have a kid out there, and people are just like, oh, but I have a kid out there. You don't have a kid out there. You don't. You released your eggs, they're gone, that's it. Number 2, oh, what if that was my last egg? It's not. You will fall pregnant. I did. A couple of months later, my miracle Milani happened. Well, I don't know why I'm saying miracle, because a couple of months later, it's not a miracle, I had sex and I fell pregnant. A couple of months later, I fell pregnant, and I have a beautiful 2-year-old right now. So, about my misconception about, oh, I could never have kids again. Oh, they're taking my last eggs. Oh, I have a baby out there. There's so many misconceptions about egg donations, but we're trying to debunk them with this video, and I hope you can take it in. And if you were interested in that process, I hope this video is a sign for you to just go ahead. Whether you're doing it for the money or not, I hope this video is a sign for you, and I hope you feel at ease about doing it. Once again, if you feel like there's something that you'd like to know that we didn't cover, you're more than welcome to DM me, and I will respond to you.
Do you think you'll ever consider doing it again?
Definitely. I think for me, it's like, it's like I'm donating blood. For the longest time, I haven't been able to donate blood because I'm anemic, and there were times in my life, the first part of my adult life, I was underweight, so I was not able to donate blood. So the first time I was able to donate blood, I think I was in my 20s, my late 20s, and it was the most amazing feeling ever to just, I felt nothing. I mean, inside I felt amazing, but outside I felt nothing. It's literally, you go there, you sit, someone pulls up your blood, and then they give you a cookie afterwards, and then you're like, that's it? That's it. It's someone else's, my life is saved. You being there like, oh, I'm donating eggs, you're just gonna take my eggs, that's it. That's it. It's another woman out there who's given an opportunity to become a mother.
Yeah.
So it is fulfilling. It is literally the most fulfilling. It's one of the most fulfilling things you'll ever do, and I'd love to do it again. I'll definitely. It's just that it's time. It's just time. As Norma mentioned, that it's a process. You go to the clinic. It's a lot of things that you need to do. I think that if we have to work from home again full time, I would definitely consider it, because when you work from home, you have a flexibility of working at the clinic. Today, I just know that today I'm going to the clinic and I can work from there or whatever. Like there's a lot of flexibility, but it's something I definitely. And yourself?
I think so. I think the only thing that is holding me back, as you said, is how time consuming it is. And thinking about it, working from home makes the best situation. Yeah. And I don't live too far from the clinic, so it wouldn't actually be a lot. Like, I'd be away from my teams for like 20 minutes at best. So perhaps there'll be an update around maybe whether we do it again, when we do it again.
When my pockets are very low, I'll do it again. When I need school fees for Alwadi. Remember, you don't get paid. You get a
gratuity.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there are like a lot of things that this topic will kind of bring in, or will take you on a thought process of. So if you don't believe in abortion, if you are pro-life, I think, then you probably won't do donating eggs, which is contradictory for me, because if you're pro-life, you should be giving more life. You want someone
else to have life.
But it brings in abortion, it brings in adoption,
miscarriages, it
brings in miscarriages,
infertility.
There's a lot of things that a lot of touchy subjects that brings in, and I think it doing this kind of allows you, whether you fully do it or just considering it, will enable you to think about certain things, on where you stand on certain topics.
Yeah.
So for me, adoption is an option, simply because I don't think a child of mine is a child that I've given birth to, or I've conceived, or is my egg. Like what defines a child?
Yeah.
That kind of brings it in. So,
and she's not lying, you guys. If anything, you are the ones that comment on my videos every day about how lucky I am to have Norma as a second mom to my kids, and which literally says exactly what she's saying, Guti. Yeah, maybe because we're family, you think Guti, she treats my kids this way because we're family. But I think that even if I wasn't her family and we were this close, she would treat my kids as her own. So what she's saying is absolutely true.
But yeah, I think it's quite interesting what it brings you. Oh, thank you, sis. Like, that's actually really sweet. Thank you, guys.
Okay. While Norma gets her shit together, I'll drink some wine.
Yeah, I think we don't live alone in this world. Like, we're not isolated beings, and where we can assist others, we should. Why you don't donate blood? People are getting into accidents and they need blood. Why? Please, SANBS is always complaining about low things of blood. We
come from a family where both Norma and I are anemic, and in my family the girls are anemic, and the one boy, I think we have one boy. We have two boys. We have two boys in my family, and the entire entire family, there's only 2 boys, they have hemophilia. So blood is a sensitive topic in our family. We know that maybe that's why we are so passionate about giving blood, because we know that one day we might need it.
Yeah.
When you're anemic, or when you've grown up, we've lost one of our brothers via hemophilia. He bled to death.
So brief description of what hemophilia is. When you cut yourself, it takes a couple of seconds and you start clotting, right? That's what stops the blood, right? Hemophilia means you don't have the clotting agent, which means if you get stabbed, if you get a cut, you will not stop bleeding until you get a specific injection that injects the blood clotting agent.
Unfortunately, our brother didn't get it and he died. So I think maybe that's why that's why we're so passionate about the process of blood donation and the process of just giving.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I don't want to get too emotional right now, but basically,
uhlezi ekhaya. One thing about Amanda, uhlezi ekhaya like lama video. Uhlezi ngiyabonga ngithi so yakhala futhi. I don't want to cry again. I try not to cry in videos. Kodwa uhlezi ukhala over video.
I'm getting better. I don't cry anymore. Guys, if you are a horoscope person, I'm Cancerian. We're sensitive as hell. So I will cry if I need to.
Kind of does.
I hope that this video meant something to you. I hope this video gave you anything that you needed to give, that you needed to learn. I hope that it changed your mind about donating your eggs. I hope that if you are in a position to donate your eggs, please do. There's a family out there who's in need of a child, and you can help. Your eggs can help. You never know if your eggs helped or not, but you won't, just trying. That's the first step. This is the end of our Egg Donation 101 video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.